Good day, everyone, and welcome to the channel. If you have a story that you would like me to bring to life for you, check the description below for my email and send it over. I hope you enjoy the story.
When I was 23, I rented an apartment in an old decaying boarding house on the outskirts of a dying downtown in a mid-sized southern U.S. city. The building, with its peeling paint and groaning floors, emanated an unsettling aura, but it was affordable, and I needed a place to stay. One night, around 2 a.m., I was driving back from my boyfriend's house after a heated argument. My vision was blurred by tears and my thoughts were elsewhere as I made my way home. At a stoplight, I pulled up alongside another car. Out of ingrained Southern politeness, I glanced at the driver and gave a quick, absent smile. The driver, a man with a disturbingly blank expression, locked eyes with me, his gaze lingering unnervingly. I brushed off the encounter and continued driving. At the next stoplight, I noticed him again, staring into my car with that same unsettling, vacant expression. And at the next, and the next. A chill crept up my spine as I realized he was following me. I should have driven to a police station, but without the convenience of GPS or a smartphone, I was lost in a labyrinth of dark, unfamiliar streets. Panic gnawed at my insides as I desperately tried to navigate my way to safety, each turn feeling like a gamble with my life. Exhausted and uncertain, I dismissed my fear as paranoia. Instead, I took a convoluted route, hoping to lose him. I drove through unfamiliar neighborhoods, my heart pounding with every turn. After several tense minutes, his car disappeared from my rearview mirror. Relief washed over me, and I drove straight home, desperate to get inside. I parallel parked in a tight spot outside the boarding house, the building's old, creaking structure casting long, eerie shadows. Just as I was about to exit, the man's car pulled up beside mine, close enough to block my door. He knew where I lived. Panic surged through me. Climbing out the passenger side seemed risky. What if he caught me before I reached the house? My hands trembled as I fumbled for my phone. As I retrieved it from under the seat, he got out of his car and sauntered to the passenger side of mine. Finding it locked, he leaned down, staring at me with those dead, empty eyes, and tapped on the glass with an almost curious persistence. I managed to dial 911 and screamed that I was calling the police. The dispatcher's calm voice was a stark contrast to my escalating panic. The man's tapping escalated to banging, then to pounding on the windshield, as if trying to shatter it. The sound echoed in the silent night, amplifying my fear. Suddenly, he stopped. He stared at me for what felt like an eternity while I spoke to the dispatcher, his gaze filled with a chilling disappointment and a hint of malevolence. He seemed to be memorizing my face and the house behind me. As I described the situation to the dispatcher, the man walked back to his car, glancing back at me one last time with a chilling smirk before driving away unhurriedly. His departure was almost more unsettling than his presence, leaving me with a sense of dread that he might return. The police arrived shortly after, their flashing lights casting ominous shadows on the old boarding house. They took my statement and expressed their concern, but I never heard back from them. The encounter left a lingering tension in the air, as if the man's presence had tainted the house. I remained in the boarding house for several more months, but my sense of security was shattered. Every creak of the floorboards and rustle of the wind sent my heart racing. I installed extra locks and kept my phone by my side at all times, but the fear persisted. Every night I lay awake, listening for the sound of a car pulling up, haunted by the memory of those dead, empty eyes watching me. I became hyper-vigilant, jumping at shadows and imagining footsteps outside my door. Months later, I finally moved out of the boarding house, the memory of that night driving my decision. I tried to start anew, but the experience had left deep scars. I never fully escaped the feeling of being watched, and the man's eerie, disappointed stare continued to haunt my dreams. In my new apartment, I often found myself checking the windows and doors, unable to shake the paranoia. One night, as I was about to fall asleep, I heard a faint tapping on my window. My blood ran cold as I realized that some shadows are impossible to escape. Slowly, I turned to face the window, my heart hammering in my chest. There, outlined against the thin glass, was the silhouette of a man, his hand rhythmically tapping the glass. I didn't need to see his face to know who it was. Those dead eyes had found me again. So it started out as just a regular day, nothing out of the ordinary. My girlfriend and I had plans to catch a movie that night, which was kind of our thing. We both love movies, so any excuse to watch one together was always a win. This time it was John Wick 3, and we were pretty excited because, well, it's Keanu Reeves. I decided to grab the tickets ahead of time just to be safe. When we got there, my girlfriend did her usual snack run while I held onto the tickets. The theater was packed, but that's what you get on opening night. We managed to find some seats in the back. There was this guy sitting further down our row, though. He looked really thin and sickly, with these intense dark eyes that seemed to drill right into you. I tried to shake off the weird vibe he was giving me. At first, we didn't pay much attention to him and just tried to enjoy the movie. But I kept catching glimpses of him from the corner of my eye, his head slightly turned our way. About halfway through, I had to go to the restroom. I told my girlfriend I'd be right back and headed out. As I was walking down, I noticed that the guy was leaving too. A chill ran down my spine, but I tried to brush it off. I did my business, and when I came out, there he was, just waiting. His eyes locked onto mine, and he asked me if he could have my girlfriend. I was stunned, and then he asked how much I wanted for her. His voice was creepily calm, like he was just talking about the weather. I told him off, saying she wasn't for sale, and threatened to call the cops if he didn't back off. He just smiled, showing all his teeth, and said he'd wait by the exit in case I changed my mind. I went back to my seat, trying to act normal, but my girlfriend could tell something was up. I just said the guy was being weird, not wanting to freak her out with the details. When the movie ended, I remembered what he said about waiting for us. I asked a staff member if they'd seen him, but no luck. My girlfriend knew something was wrong by then, so I had to tell her what happened. We decided to take a side exit and make a run for the car. We were halfway to the car when I heard footsteps rapidly approaching. I looked back, and there he was, running at us with something glinting in his hand. I yelled at my girlfriend to run, and we sprinted to the car. We got in just as he caught up, and he tried to force his way in, his face pressed against the window, grinning like a maniac. Luckily, I'd already locked the doors. My girlfriend was on the phone with the cops while I started backing out. His laughter echoing in my ears. After what felt like forever, we heard sirens. 2 cop cars showed up. One went after the guy, and the other talked to us. They caught him. He had a screwdriver and told the cops he was planning to take us home. The officer said they had been looking for this guy in connection with other incidents. Talk about a wake-up call, right? It really made us realize how the world isn't always as safe as we think. I still sometimes wake up in cold sweats remembering those dark, hungry eyes.